It's the 10th race of the season, and it all comes to a point at Southern Boston Speedway. We are here, and the banking is low. The straights are narrow. Drivers will have to hold off competitors and navigate the bumpy track. You'll see it all here on the Misfit Touring Series Season 2, presented by V-Speed. My name is Scott Shive. I am joined in the booth by Sky Shrek, and our executive producer, DJ Lyon, is at the helm. Well, we're here tonight at South Boston Speedway, and Sky, this track is very tricky for some drivers, it being so shallow with the banking and so narrow on these straightaways. Out of South Boston, Virginia, it is a 0.4 mile track, 12-degree banking. They are in the corners, 10 degrees on the straights, opened in 1957. What do we got here tonight? What can these drivers expect?
Yeah, it's shorter than many other tracks we've been running recently. You know, we're coming off races at tracks like Phoenix, tracks that are about a mile in length. South Boston, only 0.4 of a mile. Again, as you mentioned, banking at 12 degrees. It's a very old track, first opened in the 1950s and located in South Boston, Virginia. It was known originally for its modified racing, but it's been more about late models in recent years. And the past year's track champion was Peyton Sellers, who's won it 6 times now.
And won it 6 times in the real world. Here in the sim tonight, this is race number 10 so far. Again, I'll remind y'all, with each time we will reschedule that New Hampshire race that got screwed up because of weather and all of those things. So that will be back to us. So we are in week 11, but this is race number 10. Looking next week at North Wilkesboro. If you watch the Rudolph 250, we've seen these late models go around there before, and we'll see some similar action there next week. And then, Sky, we got the Milwaukee Mile. That is going to be very interesting at that mile-long track, and that's going to be a very good one, as well as the Bull Ring out in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I think the Milwaukee Mile is going to be probably the longest race of the year. We're running 100 laps there, twice as much as we did at Phoenix. It's going to be a test of endurance more than anything else we've done this season, and I think that's going to make it a really fun one.
It's going to be really fun as well. The points have been heating up so far tonight, Sky. We saw last weekend Kyle Turzak did not make the race again. That has dropped him down from 2nd, now down to 5th at 543 points. Jake Sylvia has retained the lead in these past 2 weeks, had a 4th place finish right outside of the podium last weekend at Phoenix. Christian Peterson came up 2nd last weekend, just behind Ryan Kuhn. Couldn't quite get the best of him in the last few laps of that race. Justin Crowe continues to perform in the top 10. And I want to make a note about current leader Jake Sylvia. With every race we have run so far this season, he has never finished outside the top 10. That is why he is our point standing leader.
Yeah, and you're seeing a couple of these drivers at the top of the standings who have not won races this year. Guys like Peterson, who came so close last week at Phoenix but couldn't get the move done to take the win. Those guys are going to be really hungry at South Boston tonight, and I wouldn't be surprised if one of those guys like Sylvia or Peterson gets the checkered flag here tonight.
Yeah, we talked about Sylvia won the championship last year in the first season of the Misfit Touring Series, and now he's leading it yet atop again. We're still waiting on that win from Christian Peterson. I really thought it was going to come last week, but we know Ryan Kuhn, owner of RKM Setup Shops, he is an absolute madman behind the wheel, and he is bad fast for sure. Qualifying is wrapping up right now, and guess who's on the top of the charts? Well, it's Christian Peterson.
Not entirely surprised with the speed he's shown in recent weeks. John Leday, currently 2nd on the board. I've mentioned this over the last couple broadcasts. Whatever iRacing did to update the late model seems to have worked really well for John Leday, because over the last 3 or 4 weeks, he's found another gear in that car, and he's 0.004 off Christian Peterson for pole. That'll get him advanced automatically to the A main tonight. He won't have to go through the heats.
Well, that's his first time qualifying in that top 5, not having to go to the heats. He's had 5 starts so far in the Touring Series this second season so far. He's had 2 top 10s. Other than that, he's been wrapped up in other people's messes. Normally, that 22 car has been fast. And like you said, Sky, especially since iRacing did its update on this late model stock. So right now, Christian Peterson sits atop the charts. John Leday, then Justin Crowe. Cody Dempster is back again this week in that 024 car. And Corey Body in the 16 car right now. Round out your top 5. Only person not to qualify is Anthony Yankello. We got some new faces and some new names here tonight.
We do. Riley Music looking like a newer car in the field. There's a couple drivers out here that I'm seeing just now for the first time.
Yeah, Riley Music, I think I recognize his name. If it's the same person I'm thinking of, I think when I watched the South Carolina 400 this past year, I think Riley Music was one of the drivers trying to qualify in his late model in the South Carolina 400. And I think it's probably the same person. Speaking of new drivers, we saw Justin Laxton last week. I found his TikTok page. It came up on my For You page, and I was messaging him, and I was like, hey, man, are you going to keep coming back? And he was like, yeah, man, just trying to test some setups for officials and all this stuff. And he actually runs the late models in real life. We have a lot of drivers in here that we don't get to talk about too often that while a lot of these drivers are obviously here in the sim, a lot of them run a lot of real life stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Looking at the starting grid now for our first of 2 heat races tonight. Scott, you want to take that away?
Yeah, Jake Griffin will be starting on the pole here. Just couldn't quite crack the top 5 in standard qualifying. He won 2 weeks ago at Oxford Plains Speedway, first win of the season. Clayton Edwards makes his second appearance in the Misfit Touring Series in that 11 car, starting on the outside of the front row. John Ouellette makes his first appearance here tonight in the 8 car, starting third. Jake Grout, we know him very well in the 49 car in fourth. Matt Zaccardo rounds out the top 5 in that number 60 Silver Bullet machine. 24 Kyle Adams comes out 6th here in this heat race. 7th will be the 9 of Jace Hale. Alex Hallinar and Steven Music round out here your top 9. That will be your 9 that have qualified here in this first heat. And man, Sky, this track can be known for chaos.
It can. I think as we head through the night into the A-Mains, we're going to see a lot of that. There's less on the line in the heat races. We're taking 24 cars to the A-Main, and we have 23 here tonight. So 1 short of a full field. Everyone's going to make the race, which means there's a little less pressure at the back of the heats to try to force something and get yourself up the grid.
Normally when we've seen things like that where these drivers know that they will make it into the feature, some of them use this time in the heats to kind of test out their stuff, see what they've got. Maybe if they get a short run in the feature race, they can use what they learned here in the heat race to qualify back on that if they want to take tires, if they want to stay out, depending on what the call is. And these tires, I think they're going to survive here tonight. While this track is not too abrasive on those tires, but look at that number 3, Jake Griffin, trying to get his second win of the season here tonight.
Yeah, for sure. I think he'll be one to watch. Didn't qualify in that top 5, but a driver who's shown a lot of speed when he has run in that series, and it wouldn't surprise me to see him up front by the time everything is said and done tonight. He's going to be quick, and he's going to be one to watch out for. Starting on pole of this heat race with Clayton Edwards to his outside.
Yeah, Clayton Edwards, we saw him 2 weeks ago at Oxford Plains, made a good running when he got caught in the back in some trouble. So he'll try to stay out of it here tonight, but to make the feature, you got to get through here in the heat race and set your position for the A-Main, the feature race. Jake Griffin on the inside, Clayton Edwards on the outside. Barney the flagman is ready away. Green flag is out here for the first heat at Southern Speedway. Jake Griffin takes it away in 1 and 2. Over the bump, out of 2. Clayton Edwards right on his back bumper, trying to wait for Griffin to make a mistake. He won't, but side by side, it's John and Jake Griffin, but now John doesn't have the best of it in Ouellette.
Grout already up into 3rd, and we're going side by side further back. That's Zaccardo sending it up the inside of Kyle Adams in that 24 machine. 60 car looking on the inside. He's come on hot in recent weeks in this series, and he's looking to move himself up the grid in that bright chrome number 60. Adams is going to hold the spot on the outside. He'll pull ahead in 5th.
Zaccardo not afraid to make a move in his 60 car, the Silver Bullet, but right now it's as we started. Up front, it's Jake Griffin and Clayton Edwards. Jake Grout has gained a position, and John Ouellette down 1. Back here in the back, this is Alex Hallinar on the inside of Jace Hale. Jace Hale in that number 9 car, way loose out of turn number 4.
Cars getting swirly further back in the field, and that's a battle for last between Jace Hale and Music back there in the 09 car. He's looking up on Alex Hallinar in 7th, who hasn't had quite the season he's wanted, but he's up a couple spots now, looking at the back of Zaccardo. Kind of like a 4 or 5 car breakaway there at the front, and then you're seeing these cars kind of have their own battle further back. Further up, that's Ouellette on the outside moving back through the field.
Ouellette still falling through this field, started up there in the fifth position, or excuse me, in the third position, and he's dropped back all the way to fifth already. Matt Zaccardo looking to make a move as Kyle Adams gets around in that new paint scheme he's got this week. Went to the 5-star body shop, picked up some new panels, but it's still the same out front. Jake Grout has gotten in front of Clayton Edwards and is now on the hunt for Jake Griffin, but he won't have enough time. Jake Griffin rounds it out here to win the first heat race at Sobo.
Yeah, not a very surprising result. We know Jake Griffin's got a lot of speed in this series. He's going to be one to watch out for in the main event tonight to see if he can pull his way up to the field and win the race. Not entirely surprised to see him come out on top in that heat.
No, not at all. We know he is fast. We know what a caliber of driver he is. So not surprised by that. So the starting grid for our second heat on pole, it will be the 47 of Riley Music. Didn't quite able to make that top 5 in qualifying. Jake Sylvia will start on the outside of the front row. Then Jacob Elliott here in his second start of the season will start third in that 07 machine. Andon Mendenhall makes his comeback after his fight at Oxford Plains. He'll start fourth in the 5 car. Jesse James will come back after last week at Phoenix. He'll start fifth. Justin Laxton back here again this week in the 53 car. In sixth. In seventh will be Bob Belshaw, Frank Hughes Jr., and Anthony Ankello round out this field of 9 for our second heat. So we saw pretty calm, no cautions there in the first heat. Sky, do you expect the same here?
I think we're gonna see that. Yeah, I'm looking at some of the cars in this field. Guys like Jake Sylvia, really mostly Jake Sylvia, because we got a lot of new names in this field. But Sylvia, Yankello, we know Laxton's pretty good from last week. A lot of good drivers in this split, and even like you mentioned, some guys like Riley Music who do some real life racing as well, rolling off on the pole in this.
Well, we've talked about it before when we've had newcomers in races so far. So we'll take a look on the driver cam of Jake Sylvia, and starting on the outside of that front row. Got an awesome setup there in his room. We got the microphone right next to his face. Got an awesome wheel there. Lots of buttons. I wish I had as many buttons as him, because sometimes I have to reach over my keyboard, and that's no fun. Looks like Jake Sylvia doesn't have that problem at all. But we talk about new drivers coming into this series with races. Sometimes as a regular, you know the drivers that are around, you know how they're going to react, you know how they're going to drive you. But when you have new drivers in the field like this, sometimes you just don't have that advantage. You don't know how some of these guys might race you in these races, and sometimes you got to be cautious over that, Sky.
Yeah, like you said, Jake Sylvia won the title here last season, and then we've got guys like Riley Music, one spot inside of him, making, I believe, his first start of the year. Pace car is going to duck off as we go through 4, and we are green for the second heat race of the night.
Side by side through 1 and 2 over the bumps. Riley Music still has the edge, but Jake Sylvia trying to carry momentum on the outside. They come to the stripe to go pick the first lap, and it's Jake Sylvia on the outside right now, trying to pinch down that of the 47 and Riley Music.
Peterson was the fastest car in qualifying, so if Sylvia wants to extend his points lead over that Peterson machine, he's going to need to have a good heat race, and he's doing it right now. He's running about 1 lane off the bottom, and you've really seen that work for a couple cars now, Jake Sylvia among them, using that top line to get moves done. Hasn't been able to clear Music yet. He will now down into turn 1.
And in Mendenhall made it on third place driver Jacob Elliott to get into third. He slams the outside wall right there, but meanwhile, this is off the back bumper of Jake Sylvia. He has it down on the bottom. He's got the lead over Riley Music right now. They're single file behind.
Getting a bit single filed out, but Music doesn't want it to stay that way. He's taking a peek up the inside of Sylvia. Contact between the two cars. They're both up the racetrack, and Mendenhall got a little close, but he couldn't make anything happen. We're back down side by side into 1 and 2. Music still holding a slight lead over Jake Sylvia. We're going to come through turns 3 and 4. There's more contact with 2 to go.
Music forcing his way through to make it back to the lead off the start of this race. Absolutely moving Jake Sylvia out of the way. Contact now between second and third, and in Mendenhall and Sylvia. Mendenhall's going to have to do the same. Contact from behind the 07. Sylvia's around, but he catches it.
Amazing save for Jake Sylvia to keep that thing going. He's going to drop back to 6, but he's not going to have a wrecked race car. Now as Riley Music comes out of turn 4. He is going to take the win of the second heat race of the night.
Wow, did not expect that. And then Jake Sylvia running in first, moved out of the way by Riley Music. Then Andy Mendenhall gets tapped by James, and that sends Sylvia around. Able to save it through turn 4, but not the finish he would have wanted. He's going to be farther back to start this feature race. We're going to send it trackside here for your national anthem. Well, back here at Sobo Speedway, we've got an invert of 9 here tonight. But before we get to this feature race, we've got some awesome things coming to MRL to talk to you guys about. The first of it is the Winter Freeze next week on January 17th. This is a race put on like the Rudolph 250, like the Gobbler 150, but it'll be next week on Friday, January 17th. It's the SK Modifieds, so we've seen the late model stocks here a lot, but we've never gotten to see the Modifieds. They'll race them next week at Irwindale in a figure 8 style, Sky. 100 laps, no caution, and lots of money to pay out, upwards of 150.
That is going to be, I think, maybe one of the most chaotic videos you will ever see on YouTube. It's going to be that Winter Freeze. Also coming up in the Misfit Racing Leagues, you can follow them on Facebook. They've been posting some cool stuff on there. They got power rankings. They got their standings if you want to see those. Schedule for all their future races. It is on Facebook. The Misfit Racing League, or Misfit Racing Leagues is the name of the account. You give it a follow. Keep up with them.
If you give it a follow, you'll get all updates, custom posts, winter highlights, and more, all on that Facebook. And you know what will be coming to it next? It's the Summer Series schedule. It's the Season 2 of the Misfit Touring Summer Series. Last year, we saw Michael Weissman get the Season 1 championship for the Summer Series in a 6-race shootout. We saw it perform once a month. But this year, we're having it a little more often with 8 races on the schedule, starting all at 5 Flags on June 1st of this summer. So when we come to a close here at the end of March, when we finish off the Triple Crown, when you think you're just all out of it, we're going to take a short break. But we're going to be back for some hot racing.
We're going to start to get the grid up here tonight. We can go through the top 10 drivers, or through the full field. We'll show you the top 10 drivers first.
Top 10, it will be Christian Peterson. He was fastest, but we're going to have an invert of 9 like we talked about. So he will be back towards the back of that invert. Then John Leday will be to his outside. Then starting in third there will be Justin Crow and Cody Dempster in that next row. Then it's Corey Body and Jake Griffin, winner of heat race number 1. Winner of heat race number 2 was Riley Music, and then it's Jake Grout in that next row. Jacob Elliott will be your pole sitter after the invert of this field, and then it'll be Clayton Edwards back in 10th. Then there in the 23 car will be Jesse James, and then back behind that, what's more, Sky?
Yeah, Kyle Adams going to roll off 12th. We're a little bit out of order with the graphic we have on screen, but it'll be Andon Mendenhall 13th, John Willett in 14th, Justin Laxton 15th, Matt Zaccardo 16th, Jake Sylvia 17th, Alex Hallinar 18th, Bob Belshaw 19th, Chase Hale 20th, and the last 3 spots on the field will be Frank Hughes, Steven Music, and Anthony Yankello.
So we've got a big mix-up here right now with these guys. Race analysis, it will be 100 laps here tonight at Sobo Speedway, and like we saw, those laps clicked off pretty quick, and we expect to see some hot action. Pit road speed is 35 miles per hour. You do not want to get caught out speeding here tonight. As you know, viewers, we have one faster pair sitting in the pits. You don't want to use that too early. I think the last time I said that, Sky, we saw a wreck on lap number 1 that like 3 drivers had to use it. So we have 23 drivers starting the field tonight, and we know it's open setups here, and so these drivers have a lot to go out for here tonight in race number 10.
Yeah, you're seeing those cars drop back on the racetrack right now. It is a 9-spot invert tonight. That puts Jacob Elliott and Jake Grout on the front row, and it'll drop the fastest qualifiers, Christian Peterson and John Leday, back to 8th and 9th, respectively.
Yeah, we've seen Peterson work through the field before. We saw him finish second to Griffin 2 weeks ago at Oxford Plains. He's had 2 runner-up finishes in a row in these past 2 races. So now he's starting back in 9th. He's got to come up through the field, but he's got Jake Griffin to contend with. I think that's one of his biggest contenders tonight, as well as Jake Sylvia. We're going to have to see how it all plays out here tonight. But right now, it's the 07 of Jacob Elliott and Jake Grout on the front row. This is going to be interesting, Sky.
This is going to be a lot of fun. South Boston, one of my favorite tracks for this kind of late model racing, especially on iRacing. It puts on a great show pretty much every time you come here. I do not think this race is going to be any different. We got a big field tonight, 23 cars, and they are ready to go.
Great action coming to you here tonight as we round these drivers through turns 3 and 4. Green flag is out. Here we go. It's Jacob Elliott on the inside, Jake Grout on the outside. Jake Grout has it on the outside right now. Coming to complete lap number 1, Jake Grout gets it from there on the outside. Takes it away from Elliott. Jake Griffin gains a spot from the outside. Then it's Riley Music back here in the back. This is Corey Body and Cody Dempster side by side.
Dempster got in the fence a little bit there, scraping the wall down the straightaway. We've seen a couple cars get up in that fence, especially on the exit of 2. Elliott's done a pretty good job to not hit it so far on the outside, but you can almost have a bit of a chain reaction sometimes where one car hits the fence, everybody else follows him to the corner, and you get about 3 or 4 cars all taking damage.
It's easy to try to carry that momentum off of the corner, and you're easily able to slap the wall. Might have gotten a scuff there. Riley Music now to the inside of Elliott. Elliott continues to fall back. He's back to 4th. Now Corey Body is to his inside here in 1 and 2. He has to find a way to the bottom. That is the 07 of Elliott on the outside.
Still side by side back down here into turn 3 between Elliott and that all black machine of Corey Body on the inside. We've seen that kind of middle line work, running that top or running that most inside white line, kind of a lane off the bottom. We've seen drivers make that work to make passes, maybe not working quite as well as Jacob Elliott would like right now, though. He's sliding back behind Body and Dempster.
It can work, but you have to make it almost perfect, especially if there's a driver down on your inside. You have to find a way to pinch them down on the inside to be able to make it work to its best. Right. Elliott just not able to find a hole to get down to this bottom line. He continues to fall back. He's almost down to 7th now. This is Justin Crow now to his inside. Crow qualified 3rd, had to drop to the back with the invert, but now he's back up trying to pass Elliott, your pole sitter.
Yeah, it's not at all been the start that Elliott has wanted, while Grout and some of those other guys like Music and Griffin have managed to hold position. It's just been backwards after backwards for Jacob Elliott. Gone all the way back now to 7th. I can't imagine he's going to get around Crow because he hasn't been able to make that outside line work at all. Yeah, he'll drop back behind him, and now John Leday's up the inside, and he's way up the racetrack down there into turn 4. He'll go back to 8th. And now he's got Christian Peterson, your fastest qualifier, right behind him for 9th.
Yeah, Elliott tried to squeeze down there in the hole. Wasn't able to make it work on the inside of John Leday. Now, like you said, fastest qualifier, Christian Peterson, is to his inside as well. So Elliott back to 8th. If Peterson gets by him, it'll be back to 9th. And then Clayton Edwards right there to make the taking. So it's a train on the inside, and Elliott is on the wrong side of it.
It's not going well for him. If he doesn't get in quickly behind Christian Peterson, he might fall out all the way out of the top 10 because that train on the inside is still going. You've got Clayton Edwards, you got Kyle Adams back there, all quick drivers who we know have pace. They're sitting there kind of at the back end of the top 10, and yeah, I mean, he's going to need to get in here or else he's just not going to have a space to get down until at least behind the 24 of Kyle Adams.
Oh,
he's going to kind of nose Edwards out of the way, and it still doesn't really work.
Yeah, this is his hole right here. He makes it work. Was able to slow up Edwards there. Edwards overshot the corner. Then Elliott was able to turn off the outside to get the spot. So Elliott finally gets down to the bottom, sits in 9th after starting the pole. Now it's Adams taking advantage of Edwards on the outside. Adams takes the spot. This is for the top 10.
Yeah, he had to force some contact to get that thing down to the bottom because I don't think it was getting in any other way. Dropping all the way back to 9th, which is where he would have started if we didn't have that invert. 24 car still working on the 07 car up there in front of him. He's gotten around the 11 of Edwards, and that red and white car needs to get the pass done.
Yeah, now we're going to try to see that speed of the 07 now that he's down in the bottom. Will he be able to hold pace? Will he advance? Or will cars continue to approach on him from behind? Caution is out here on lap 18.
That's Jake Griffin.
Looks like Jake Griffin had a problem.
Yeah, he was a little slow off the pace there. We're going to have to find out what happened to him. He was running, I believe, second at the time. Yeah.
So lost 2 spots there. We're going to take a look at our drivertees.com replay. You can see Riley Music very close behind these 3 cars, close together. Here coming to lap 18, this is into turn 1. Riley Music right there on the bumper, just gets down, taps the left rear panel of Jake Griffin. Luckily, he's able to, he corrects him, turns him right. That's going to give some damage to that 47 car on his right front.
Yeah, I mean, that certainly could have gone worse for Jake Griffin. Took a little hit to that left rear, had it straightened out. He'll drop 2 spots, but he shouldn't have too much of an issue keeping going.
Now, we're going to see right here if a black flag is given out to Music or not. Right now, I see that he had black flags cleared in the chat, so we're not sure if he's going to get the EOL for the cause of incident. So I'll have to let you know about that. But he's going to come to pit road. He's going to come to pit road on lap number 20, so it won't matter if he gets the EOL or not. It looks like he's going to try to come in, get a fast fix, and maybe get some new tires.
Yeah, interesting call for Riley Music. He will take that fast repair. So clearly some damage to the right front of that car that he didn't want on it for the next 80 laps. It's a risky strategy going to the back without a fast repair. It leaves you liable to get caught up in some incidents. But if he can keep it clean, we'll see if it works for him.
Yeah, Stephen Charles, our race control tonight, said no claim for that caution, so will go to a post-race review. But right now, Jake Grout out front. Man, he got the start off of Elliott on the outside. So looks like you can make it work on that outside, Sky.
Yeah, you definitely can. Grout is a driver that we know tends to have speed running that top line, but you've seen a couple cars in the heat races mostly who have been able to make it work up there. Grout chose the inside for this restart. Body chose the outside, and it'll be Jake Griffin restarting right behind the 49 car in third. Pace car 024, a Dempster's into the wall there on the top. Side by side, multiple rows back to the outside of the top 10.
Yeah, right now, John Leday. Oh, spinner! It's Jake Griffin. He collects it, but caution is out.
Another good save. Oh, we got another car around further back. That's the 5 machine at Andon Mendenhall. Spun as well and nearly hitting a car trying to rejoin the racetrack. Jake Griffin getting lucky again.
Yeah, big stack up. He was able to save it. Take a look at our drivertees.com replay. This is Cody Dempster right here now behind Jake Griffin. Dives to the inside here in 1 and 2. Makes contact and gets Griffin sideways. I don't know how Griffin managed to save that. That was almost 90 degrees sideways.
Yeah, that's the second time he's been put way out of shape this race, and he's just barely managed to hold on to that thing and stop himself from taking too much damage. I don't even think he really got hit by anyone behind him. We're gonna watch Andon Mendenhall right here because he makes contact with another car further behind him, gets turned around. It's Jesse James is gonna be the car who makes contact with this 5. He'll go down into 1 and 2, checks up for the accident, and then James in the background doesn't slow up, and that sends him around.
Yeah, big checkup. That happened a while after the incident. Surprised to see that. You saw cars spreading out, going all the way high, all the way low, trying to get away from any contact there. And Janes just wasn't quite able to get it slowed down fast enough as Mendenhall was checking up. So it's our second caution of the night. I didn't know if we were going to see much tonight, Sky, but we've seen early ones already. Do you think this is a trend that we'll continue to see?
I'm not sure. You can never really tell in this series because sometimes we have races that I think are going to be kind of chaotic and they end up very clean. And then sometimes you have races that I think are going to be pretty clean and you end up with about 12 cautions. So you never really know. Last week at Phoenix was pretty clean. I don't think we had many incidents at all at Phoenix. So already 2 tonight. I think we'll see a couple more, but I don't think we're going to have it to quite the same extent that we have in some other races this season where we've been rocking about 11 or 12 cautions.
It's always difficult to tell. Sobo, known for its chaos, but right now hasn't been too crazy, but Jay Griffin's been on the side of the craziness so far. He's a little bit back in the back. Corey Body on the inside. Jay Grout chooses the outside for this restart. Green flag is away. Grout gets a great run into turn number 1.
Yeah, Grout made that top work really well. He was clear before he even got down into turn 1, and he's pulled out a huge gap to Body in the 16. Closest battle behind him is for 4th right now as we're side by side. Justin Crow on the outside, Leday on the inside. Caution is out further back.
Incident in the back. This is the 61 and the 09. That's Steven Music, and I'm trying to see who the 61. It's Frank Hughes Jr.
Yeah, this is at the very back of the field. You'll see it on the drivertees.com replay. You got some of the cars who've already been involved in accidents like Music and Mendenhall right behind this. 61 car is going to come out of 4. Oh, contact with the 47 of Riley Music. Sends him into the fence and collects that 09 of Steven Music.
Yeah, a little bit aggressive there from the 47 car. Looks like he just lifts up the rear of that 61, loses all grip, and unable to save it. The 09, nothing to do there on the outside of Steven Music, just an innocent bystander.
No, he had nowhere to go, and the cars who were behind that 09 are lucky that they didn't take any major damage in that incident. Frank Hughes Jr. is going to come into the pits, and he will go 1 or even 2 laps down here, trying to fix his car.
Yeah, that's some big damage for him. I wouldn't be surprised if he uses his fast repair here. Right now he's going 2 laps down, so the only car a lap or more down. Looks like his car just came out of session, so it looks like Frank Hughes Jr. has left the session. We'll see if he'll rejoin later on, but right now he is out. And so Riley Music being a little aggressive there in the back.
Yeah, speaking of fast repairs, I was going to say Jake Griffin had to use his fast repair after that last accident. Yeah, he came down, he took tires, he put a fast repair on it. So he's coming from the back here. You saw him kind of behind that incident. We'll see if he's able to work his way back up to the front.
Now this is Jace Hale right now running here. He's back in the back right now. Hasn't been able to make hay with the caution. He's back in 15th right now. So we love when drivers give us their driver cameras, able to see another view for them. Jace Hale has always been one of those drivers to be able to give it to us. He chooses the top lane here in the choose. He'll go right behind Matt Zaccardo here. They'll try to make hay on this outside as we get ready to go green. Corey Body on the inside yet again. Jake Grout chooses the outside here on the front row. We've seen that excellent getaways there from the top. Will he be able to do it again? We'll have to see. Green flag is out for Jake Grout on the outside. He gets away wonderfully.
Another good jump for Grout. Same thing he did last time.
And
already a caution. Bob Belshaw is already towed back to the pits with a blown engine.
Quick caution in the back. Looked like something happened catastrophically for him in the back in that 44 machine. We'll just have to see what it was on the drivertees.com replay. This is them catching up to the field before we go green. Jake Griffin behind. Lining up on the inside, having that EOL. We'll have to see. Jake Griffin. Oh, goodness. Oh, my word. Wow. Griffin, I mean, he wanted to get through the field fast.
Yeah, did he not accelerate? I'm trying to go back and see this replay. Maybe he missed a shift. It looks like he missed a shift because he, coming to the line, he slowed down pretty rapidly. You'll see, he checked up hard. I think he might have missed a shift. And Jake Griffin was just the car behind him. That's part of the danger of taking those fast repairs and going to the back. really easy to get caught up in incidents and get yourself even more damage.
Yeah, you'll hear right here, viewers, you'll hear the engine. I'll give you a second. You can hear him missing that shift right there, missing the shift into fourth gear. And Jake Griffin had no idea that he was going to slow up behind him. So not the fault of Jake Griffin, just unfortunate that he was right there and nothing he could do, really.
Yeah, that car just came so slow, so suddenly. I almost thought he money shifted at first, just hit something wrong and completely blew the engine. I mean, that thing came to a pretty abrupt stop there, kind of just in the middle of the straightaway.
Yeah, you don't see many things like that so often, especially I imagine that Bob was trying to get it all figured out there, trying to catch up to the field and just wasn't quite ready to get it all going. And so missed a shift there. Jake Griffin nowhere to go, slams in the back, and then huge contact with the outside wall for Belshaw. So we've seen two rash cautions real quick. The front row remains the same. Jake Grout on the outside here. We're going to have a third restart, and we'll see how Grout handles it. I imagine it'll be the same. Green flag is away, and yes, he gets away down to the bottom in turns 1 and 2.
3 for 3 for Jake Grout, restarting on the top and pulling it down on body before he even makes it down to turn 1. Leday in 4th and Crow in 5th. Once again, the closest battle to those top two on the racetrack because they're still hanging out side by side going down into turn 2. They've tried to get this for the last 3 restarts now, and maybe now we'll finally get to see who wins it.
Well, we've gotten 2 laps in so far, 2 laps complete, and so we'll have John Leday here on the inside. Sky, you mentioned him earlier. Ever since iRacing had this update, there was something new about the way he drives, how his results have been faring, and right now he's in the top 5, battling with Justin Crowe on the outside.
He's had a lot of speed the last couple of weeks. He was doing pretty well at Phoenix. I think he won the heat race at Phoenix, so he's had a lot of speed in recent weeks. 4th and for 5th, wherever he ends up after this battle. It's a good result. Caution. Further back, John Willett.
John Willett involved in that 8 car.
Jesse Janes as well. Jesse Janes and John Willett seem to be the 2 cars who got the worst of it.
Yeah, slow right now, both in the back in 19th and 20th. Willett in that purple number 8 machine. And Jesse Janes back there in the 23. We'll have to take a look here at what happened in the DriverCheese.com replay.
Oh, they're wrecking further up front.
Yeah.
That's Jesse Janes, who's running that 60 car there further up. So he gets turned around, and then Olette is kind of a bystander behind this and gets involved. Oh, yeah. Who got in the back of him there? That was the 47.
Riley Music.
Riley Music.
It looks like he got loose there. And almost both of them got loose. The 60 car as well of who is it? Janes. And so we'll have to take another look. This is on the back of Music 1 lap prior. We'll take a look here. This is Janes right in front of Music through turns 1 and 2. Music ready to make a move here. Gets a great run off of turn 2. Now down into turn 3. Oh, looks like he might have gotten hit from behind as well.
They said that I've been told that Jake Sylvia has claimed the caution here. So that might be who we want to look at. He's running 1 spot behind this in the 1 car.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. He makes the send on Riley Music. That gets him into Jesse Janes, and that's what starts the stack up.
We normally see the backwards domino effect, but right there, Sky, we saw the forward domino effect, which we don't see quite as often.
No, so that's a new technique.
I know. I've never seen it before. I can't say I've never seen it before, but it's definitely more rare than the backwards stacking domino. So Riley Music involved in another incident. The front row still here remains the same. Jay Grout, Corey Body, Christian Peterson, and Jacob Elliott is back up into the top 5 off the 2s. Green flag is away. What will they make of it?
No surprise, Grout is already clear down to the bottom. Peterson's bringing a bit more fight than he has on the last couple of restarts because he's got that thing on the outside of Corey Body up into 3rd, trying to make the move on the outside. Cody Dempster's next car back in 4th, nearly making contact with the rear bumper of the 16.
Well, as we crossed over halfway, Peterson knows it's about time to make a move. It's time to start heading forward, but Body not allowing it to happen on the inside. Peterson now being overtaken by Dempster.
And Dempster is really sending it into these corners. He's going deep into these turns, sliding up the racetrack a little bit into Peterson. That's going to give him the spot. Peterson doesn't seem quite as capable as someone like Jake Grout at running that top line. He's back behind Body and Dempster, and now Justin Crow, who's gotten that spot over John Leday, is looking to the inside for fourth. Caution is out again. Steven Music around at the back.
Man, big contact between these top 5 drivers. They are racing hard. Steven Music here in the 09 has a problem in the back.
Yeah, we're going to see this on the drivertees.com replay. He's side by side with Jace Hale. He's loose out of the corner already, going down into turns 1 and 2. And, contact from behind with John Willett is going to send him around.
It looks like he's already
claim the caution.
It looks like he's already got some right front damage. I imagine that was from earlier when the 61 of Frank Hughes Jr. got into him on the outside. So it looks like he's already got some damage there, making his car a little bit slower. And it looks like Willett just wasn't prepared for him to be slow on the exit of 2.
And it's not been a good race for Steven Music at all, who's kind of gotten stuck there at the back. Hasn't been a good race for Riley Music either, unrelated, last name spelled differently. He was running up front, started third, was running up front, hasn't been able to get back past 14th after that incident.
Yeah, well, with these cautions, we haven't seen many green flag runs since that first green flag run of 15 laps. And with those, we're not having those green flag laps and those cautions, it's hard to make your way through this field. Right now, this is Justin Laxton. He's only made up 2 spots from the start of this race, most likely because of those cautions. So to move through this field, you're going to need to see some more green flag action, Sky.
Yeah, a couple cars in the pits that time around. Jesse Janes and Jake Sylvia both coming down, both for tires, no fast repairs. I believe they each took 2. And I just want to shout out the biggest mover of this race so far, up 10 positions, is Alex Hallinar.
Alex Hallinar, he has had some trouble here in the past few weeks when he's made his starts. Not really much of his own doing. We have seen, at least past from season 1, that Hallinar is a bad man behind the wheel, and he is fast. He's just been in some unlucky spouts in the past few starts. It's the same book, different chapter on the front row. Jake Grout on the outside.
Body did a little better that time. He kept it pretty steady, but even still, Grout was able to jump ahead. Peterson's trying to work it back on the outside now, like we saw him doing before that restart. Back for 5th this time, or for 4th this time. Justin Crow currently holding that spot. They're side by side behind, as well as Jacob Elliott tries to make his way back up through the field around the outside of the 22 of John Leday.
Yeah, with so many restarts, Body is trying to find that rhythm of Jay Grout. We'll have to see if there's another restart for him to be able to do it. But right now, it's Justin Crow on the inside of Peterson. Peterson still stuck on that outside from earlier. He'll try to jump into the bottom right here. No, he'll stay on the outside. When will he try to make the move to the bottom? It'll be now. Back behind them, this is Leday on the fight with Elliott.
Yeah, a little bit of a crossover there for Christian Peterson, trying to get something going on the bottom. He knew he couldn't do it on the top. He's got to try another way, and right now, that's right around the bottom of the racetrack, and he still can't really get it. Crow is holding steady on that top lane, and he's held on to 4th for now, coming out of 4.
Yeah, Crow really able to carry that momentum off the corner as we see caution out yet again here, coming to lap number 61.
Couple. There was a pretty big one at the back. Jesse Janes, John Willett, Andon Mendenhall's towed it back to the pits. I think Jake Griffin was in that. Matt Zaccardo. I see about 5 cars who might have gotten in that.
Oh my goodness, big conflict here in the back. We'll take a look at it back on the drivertees.com replay. It might have all started here with Willett and Jace Hale out of turn number 4. Oh, it's happened in front of them. Oh my goodness, big stack up.
That was a little more than 5 cars. That looked like about 6 or 7. Matt Zaccardo getting some air, Jake Griffin getting some air, and then doing his best Toe Mater impression going backwards through turn 1.
Oh my goodness.
A couple cars backwards there. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we'll take a look back here where this all started. This is Jake Griffin right behind Matt Zaccardo, then Jake Sylvia on the outside, and in Mendenhall right here in the 5. Oh, right there. Looks like Justin Laxton got loose, and that checked everybody up. This is the backwards domino effect.
Yeah, you could see Mendenhall was really looking on Laxton. Yeah, just got checked up, and yeah, just a big pile up from there. I mean, you saw a bunch of cars involved. Sylvia barely made it out, but Mendenhall, Zaccardo, Music, Griffin, Hale, Willette, Jesse James as well taking heavy damage. Bob Belshaw going around too. There's about 8 cars, I think, who took some pretty good damage in that.
And Sky, that's one of the products of this racetrack when you see an incident like that. Because of these narrow straightaways, there is so little room that when you have a stack up like that, it's an absolute blockade in front of the field and nowhere to go for any of these drivers. And so the 5 car got an immediate DQ after the caution, so there's no claim. So Endon Mendenhall will be out of this race, involved in too many incidents here tonight.
Yeah, I'm just looking at down the kind of timing screen right now. It was a disconnect, not a disqualification for Endon Mendenhall.
I thought Stephen Charles was saying disqualified. Yeah. I miscued my C's for D or Q's.
Yeah, I was about to say, we're getting back ready to go green. The top 11 cars as we take the green flag are the 11 cars who haven't pit yet. Grout back on the top. We're back green with 67 laps into this race.
Track position has looked to be key here tonight. Grout has held it up front all night long, ever since taking it from Elliott at the start. Big stack up in the back. This is Adams around. More cars pile in. Caution is out.
Yeah, I saw that coming about 2 seconds before it actually happened there. There was some very, very near misses kind of in that pack. You saw someone check up into the corner, contacted in the back of Kyle Adams, and about 3 or 4 cars ended up involved in that. Clayton Edwards also spinning.
Yeah, it looks like he said that he's going to claim this caution, so I imagine it will begin with him. This is Adams right behind Hallinar. Big checkup there for Hallinar and Adams, and then Edwards had nowhere to go.
Yeah, Adams had to get way on the brakes or off the gas to try to avoid the rear bumper of Alex Hallinar. Very, very lucky is the 53 of Justin Laxton, who did a little bit of a Tokyo drift through turn 4. Kept it steady, and he's still going down the straightaway. I think he'll come out of that in 9th.
Yeah, I saw Laxton going sideways as well as Adams, and I thought Laxton was going around for sure. Somehow he's able to say, we'll get another look here. This is the checkup, then Edwards into the back. Laxton right there, sideways, able to save it. What a beautiful move.
Yeah, nice job to gather that thing back up and save his race. He'll stay in the top 10 now with that. Also moving back into the top 10 as a result of that is Jake Sylvia. Moving into 10th. Still though, the 9 cars who haven't pit are the top 9 in this race.
I was just about to mention Sylvia. He had that EOL, went to the back for incident earlier around lap 30. And he's back into the top 10. He's looking to continue that top 10 streak here tonight. Tonight, if he finishes in that top 10, it'll be 10 in a row and a complete ace on the season with top 10s so far. So he'll be looking to stay in the top 10, but obviously he wants a little bit more than that, Sky. He wants to get to the top 5, maybe the win, but it's going to be hard to make his way through this field, especially with under 30 laps to go. We line it back up, and what were you going to say?
I was going to say, I think I see a cat in the background. If he wins this race, I want to interview the cat.
Oh, absolutely. Cat in the bag for sure. Jake Grout chooses the bottom this time. Body on the outside. Body holding it to the outside. Will be able to make it side by side. No, Grout will get it off of turn 2. Single file out front. Then it's Justin Crow and Peterson side by side yet again.
Yeah, we still quite haven't figured out this battle between the 86 and the 171, who've been going at it for about 25 laps now for 4th. Peterson is still on the outside, but we know he doesn't quite have the car to keep it up there. Oh, big loose out of the 60 of Matt Zaccardo. Keeps that thing straight without losing any spots. I wonder if that's related to the massive hole that he has in the nose on that 60.
It might be a factor. It's definitely not helping him. Oh, almost a big sin there for Matt Zaccardo. He'll make it to the inside here of James, and they'll fight side by side here into turns 1 and 2. Meanwhile, up front, they've single filed out. This is the first battle side by side. It's the 260 cars of the night. James and Zaccardo.
There's contact all over. Sylvia almost turned Hallinar going down into that corner. That's a couple cars having trouble behind the 57 tonight. I'm sure he does not enjoy the use that other drivers are getting out of his bumper. 8 car of Willette in the wall there as Jake Griffin tries to move back through the field on the inside. Hey, it's another car with a hole in the nose and a lap. Seems we got 3 cars in a row there Might need some fender replacements after this.
We've got a lot of cars that are going to need some new panels from 5-star bodies for sure. Jake Griffin trying to make his way back through this field. He started up within the top 4 after he got an EOL for sending himself to the back after incident. He has not been able to make his way up through the pack. Again, he's up in 13th. Then we move back here. This is in 17th. Adams involved in that last incident, also not quite able to make the hay.
No, he's been struggling back there. He's 1 lap down along with the car behind him, that being Clayton Edwards. A couple cars kind of trapped further back in the field. He would need a caution to get that lap back, and he'd need to stay ahead of Edwards to do it, who's fighting him pretty good back there for 17th.
I think something that we've learned so far when we've had these green flag runs, we see Jake Griffin going on the inside here of the 60 car of James, trying to get up into that top 12. Battle the inside. It is difficult to make passes. You have to be aggressive. You have to have the speed, and we're seeing only some cars able to do it. Jake Griffin, one of those cars that has the speed, but across the field, once we get single filed out, we don't see many cars side by side that often, as Griffin still trying to make it work.
No, James was almost in the wall there with Griffin back there as well. We've seen him barely keep it out of that thing a couple times. And as these two stay side by side, Willette is inching closer and closer to this fight. Oh, big loose for Jesse James, and he's going to make contact with that 8 car. Nearly causes a stack up behind him with Kyle Adams as well. Issues for the 23 of James falling back, and now Kyle Adams. Oh, Alex Hallinar's around.
Hallinar parked backwards on the front straightaway. He'll spin it around, but the caution is out. He was battling with Jake Sylvia when the incident occurred.
I mentioned about 10 laps ago, Sylvia was in his bumper. I wonder if that is what happened here. He's battling Zaccardo at the time right now. This is for 60, or this is that 60 car behind him. We don't got 60 cars in the field tonight. He was about 9th. Oh, he got loose out of the corner. Slammed on the brakes to try to keep the car straight, and Zaccardo got in the back of it.
Yeah, Sylvia got around a few laps prior. Then Zaccardo here has a great speed like we've seen in the past couple races. Hallinar way loose out of turn 4. Zaccardo not able to check up in time.
Yeah, the 57 just lost it, and that kind of caused a checkup. He will claim the caution there, and he will go to the back on this restart, and he might drop a lap down. No, he'll stay on the lead lap, but he will get the EOL.
Yeah, man, that is tough for Hallinar. But lucky for Zaccardo there. I'm surprised that one of them weren't contesting for it there, because that would have been a day ender for Zaccardo, because we've got under 15 laps to go, Sky. They have clicked away even though we've had time under caution. It's been the Jake Grout show.
It has. He's done a great job of managing this race, doing good on the restarts to keep himself out front over Corey Body back there in 2nd. Dempster still in 3rd. He's been trying to get something going for a while, but he hasn't been able to get it done. Meanwhile, Peterson's kind of been stuck in 5th. He hasn't quite been able to overcome the invert. Still struggling to get around Justin Crowe, who he's been battling with for what seems like about 40 laps now.
Yeah, they've been battling up there for quite a while here in the second portion of this race. Peterson and Crowe will both go to the outside. John Leday will go to the inside. Up front, looking like Jake Grout will be on the outside. Corey Body on the inside. I think those top 3 of Grout, Body, and Dempster are all so close in speed that it's so difficult for them to make a run on each other to make the pass. And that might be to Jake Grout's advantage as he holds the lead and is a control car. We come to complete lap number 88 to 89. Jake Grout, the green flag is out for you.
He gets it right back down to the inside once again. Another good jump for the 49 car. Meanwhile, Body's still in 2nd, Dempster's still in 3rd, and like we've seen for the last couple of restarts, it's Crowe on the top, but he's got a different car fighting with him. It's John Leday trying to make a move for 4th as we hit 10 to go.
Leday has the pace. Oh, nudges Crowe there into the wall. Door to door, bumping side by side, and this is John Leday trying to carry the speed on the inside, but we know that Crowe is able to find that momentum on the top side, and a lurking Christian Peterson is right there. Ooh. Big contact between them. John Leday almost sideways. That gives more of the edge to Crowe, the 86, here to come to complete lap number 91.
Yeah, I'm glad they both kept that straight because that could have been bad if they didn't. They're sticking side by side. Christian Peterson's getting a little antsy behind these two cars, stuck back in 6th. He wants to get a move on because he wants to cut into Jake Sylvia's points lead. The problem is Sylvia's only 1 spot behind him in 7th. He will get a caution. Kyle Adams is around along with Bob Belshaw.
Bob Belshaw, 3rd incident of the night for him. And Kyle Adams looks to have some big damage here in his 24 machine. Take a look back at the drivertees.com replay, what happened. Checking up there for Jace Hale here into turns 3 and 4. Tries to make a move to the inside, not quite able to do it. Then Alex Hallinar behind. Oh my goodness. Whoa, big frisbee action there for the 60 of Janes. Got into the inside barrels and nowhere for the 24 of Adams to go. That is a day-ender engine blower there for Janes.
Yeah, I didn't see that because he kept the car rolling. James just drove away from that.
Oh my goodness.
You see, he just keeps rolling the car. I was looking at stopped cars. I see the 24 stopped, and I don't notice Jesse James, who's just frisbeed through the air and maybe impaled himself on a tire barrier there.
Yeah, let's take a look here. Out of 4, gets loose, not quite able to save it. Big contact with those inside barrels. He goes up and over the 09 of Steven Music, but the 24 of Adams had nowhere to go.
Hey, let's be glad they build those catch fences as well, because it took a bit of a hit there.
Seriously.
Jesse James, that is maybe the worst possible spot to have an accident on this racetrack. Kyle Adams, innocent victim, as we get some Tony Hawk skateboard action for the 60.
I think Hallinar avoided any damage right there. You saw a little tap from the 09 of Music, but besides that, I don't think he had any damage. The 60 car of Jesse James had not yet used his fast repair, so while he had just blown his engine, he's back.
Yeah, I was shocked that car was even still drivable. I thought that would have been a death sentence. I don't know how he
I thought he had used his fast repair.
I don't know how he rolled that thing back to the pits.
I don't either. It's impressive, and guess what? He is still on the lead lap. He is sitting currently in 14th. So what a recovery there so quickly for the 60 of Jesse James. We got 4 laps to go. It'll be 3 to go here across the line. Will it be Jay Grout or will it be Corey Body? Both will make it decided. 3 to go at the line.
Body manages to hold it up the inside of Grout. It's the best restart he's had so far in comparison to that 49 car, but Grout has still got the advantage down the straightaway. 2 laps to go right now. Body is getting closer, but he isn't quite there yet. And as we come down the back straightaway, these 2 cars are going to head into 3, and you got to wonder, does Body make the send coming to the white flag?
Coming to the white flag, does Body make the move? Does he give Grout a tap? Is he close enough to do it? We'll just have to see. Jay Grout here rounding it through 1 and 2. He's got a aggressive lead. Now through 3 and 4, Body nothing doing. It's going to be Jake Grout winning for the first time this season. It's Sobo.
Jake Grout gets it done. He started on the front row after the invert, and he's one of the rare cars we've seen this season who's gone to the front on the invert and held it there for the rest of the race. Jake Grout in the 49 gets it done.
This is the 7th different winner of the season. Jake Grout in the 49 gets it done. Took the lead away on the first initial restart, and he was at the lead ever since that first lap. It was absolute domination by the 49.
Yeah, great race for him. I mean, kind of can't go much better. He did a great job of jumping to the front after all of the restarts, and he just held on to it really well. Drove a great race start to finish and got it done in the end.
That's 3 different winners here in the last 3 races. And so what a run by the 49 car of Jake Grout. Extremely impressive for him. Right now he's sitting 4th in the point standings. I imagine this will move him ahead of Justin Crowe and maybe even Peterson. We'll just have to see right now. I think it will. And so this might put him 2nd in the overall point standings, Sky.
That would be a good result. We're going to take a quick commercial break here on V-Speed, and when we come back, we'll have results and interviews from your top 3.
Racing isn't easy, but but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
After a thriller here from Sobo Speedway, our third different winner in the past 3 races, and Jake Grout takes it from the start of this race all the way to the finish off the front row. Then it's Corey Body, came home third last weekend, moves it up to second here this weekend. Cody Dempster, first time back on the podium since the beginning of this season. Then it's Justin Crow having another top 5 run, and Christian Peterson as well in that 5th spot. Then John Leday just wasn't quite able to hold their battle with Peterson near the end, couldn't quite break into that top 5. He finishes 6th. Jake Sylvia continues his top 10 streak. That's 10 in a row for him, finishing in 7th. Then it's Jacob Elliott. He started on the pole tonight after the invert, fell back outside of the top 10, was able to make his way back into 8th. Then it was the 60 car of Jesse James. We saw him almost 5 laps ago before absolutely frisbeeing, slamming to the inside wall, having to go into the pits, and he comes home with the top 10 somehow, and Justin Laxton rounds out that top 10.
Yeah, and coming to the rest of the field, you got Matt Zaccardo, 11th tonight, John Willett in 12th, Hallinar recovers from a wreck to finish 13th, Jake Griffin in 14th, Jace Hale finishes in 15th tonight with Clayton Edwards in 16th, Steven Music, last car on the lead lap in 17th, Bob Belshaw, 4 down in 18th, Kyle Adams in 19th, and Riley Music, 31 laps down in 20th.
Well, then we had Andon Mendenhall in the 5. Wasn't DQ'd. He disconnected. Bad internet for him this week. Then it was the 61 of Frank Hughes Jr. And then it was Anthony Yankello in the 79 car. Did not come to the start here tonight. So that rounds out our 23 car field. And we're going to get to talk to the winner of Jake Grout. And what a performance by him. So we're going to bring him here into the booth in just a moment. But so much to talk about for him because it was an absolute run for him. Jake Grout, you got me?
Yeah.
We'll talk about it. First win of the season. Currently sitting 4th in the overall standings so far this season. And you've had, what is it? I think 9 starts so far this season. Now 3 top 5s, 5 top 10s, and your first win. Tell me about the emotions right now.
Yeah, feels great. I must have clicked on something tonight, swept all 3 races, so that feels good. Tonight we were just flying, honestly. Our cam set was really good. Top 4 lockout, I believe. So that's cool to see. Shows our cam's one of the best on the sim. So yeah.
Talk to me. I want to hear, you're on the front row on that first initial restart. Elliott is on your inside. You had so much speed there. You were able to wrap the outside unlike any drivers. Tell me how you did that there on that first restart to take the initial lead.
Yeah, I knew the top was going to be decent. Always is here at South Boston. I pushed it probably a little harder than I should have there just to get around him, but I didn't want to ride behind him and let the other guys get up here too quick. So I saw the opportunity, I went for it, and it paid off here in the long run. I'm
not going to give you 100% answer, but trying to calculate the points in my head, I believe this will move you up to third, maybe second in those overall points. You have a possibility for battling for the championship. What do you do in the coming races? We're halfway through the season right now. What do you do in the coming races to continue that battle and fight for the top?
Yeah, just gotta stay consistent, stay clean, not get caught up in my own messes, anybody else's messes. Just stay up front, stay where I'm in a good spot, play the strategy right, and just not think about the points, honestly. That's how you screw yourself out of it. Just don't think about it running every race like it's just an official race. So, not get my head wrapped up and just go for it.
Just go out there, free your head, and drive. Great words and a great strategy for you in the future. Before I let you go, anyone you'd like to thank tonight, Jake?
Yeah, I gotta thank you guys for broadcasting it. Jake, Kyle, Steve, everybody for adminning all this fun stuff. AW Clark Builders, JNS Sales and Service, Justin Brooks Designs, RCAM Setup Shop, White's Heating, Misfit Productions, Crow Sim Shots, KSR, anybody else I forgot.
Well, congratulations, Jake. First win on the season. Maybe we'll see some more, but we know we'll have you back in the booth.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Well, that was winner in the 49 car, Jay Grout. And Sky was able to catch up here with second place, Corey Body.
Hey, Corey, you got a copy?
Yeah, loud and clear.
We saw in those restarts that Jake Grout was able to take that jump on the top and get it down to the inside and just kind of take off. And that was what was able to get him the win. Was there anything you think you could have done to get back up to him?
A little more center rotation would be nice. Being on RKM, some of these can feel like a fixed setup race, and tonight I kind of built my own little thing, and it was just a little too tight right there in the center to be able to cut and drive up to Jake. There was a couple times there where I got to his bumper and I was like, hey, we can either race this out or how you want to do this, and right about 60 to go or 40 to go, he said, all right, here, take it. And as soon as he went to the top, the yellow come out. And from there on, it was just kind of like, is it really worth it? And it was, a solid showing, no reason to tear up good race cars. So settled in for a cozy second place.
There you go. Well, you finished third last week at Phoenix. You were second tonight at Sobo. What's it going to take to hit the top step of the podium here in your next race?
Consistency, staying out of the other people's mess. You got to do a good job to keep the fenders on the car more than ever now and keep the nose clean. If you can do that, you likely find your way up to the front. Don't shred the tires off of it, and that's how we'll do it.
Yeah, we're about halfway through the season here. We've got some bigger tracks like last week at Phoenix. We're running Milwaukee Mile. Tracks like Hickory that are kind of closer to here at Sobo. Is there anything you've got your eye on that you're looking forward to running in the second part of the season?
Honestly, I was joking with Kyle earlier. I don't even know what the schedule is, to be honest with you. I just kind of show up, figure some stuff out, and try to put them on the dash and show out,
Hey, it's working for you so far. Is there anyone you want to thank or shout out tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. Can't thank Ryan Kuhn for having me around enough. All the guys, Grout, Cody, Crow, all racing clean there. All the guys that helped me on the real street stock, with CBM Motorsports, Patriot Media Marketing Solutions. That's about all.
All right. Congrats on P2 tonight, Corey Body.
Thank you very much.
While we were talking to him, Scott has caught back up with third place, Cody Dempster.
Yeah, Cody Dempster, you got me?
I do.
Well, here we go. A podium here tonight. First of all, how does it feel to get a podium coming back?
It's been a long time coming. We came back last week at Phoenix and we were good. It was a really clean race, a really green race last week, so we didn't get the track position that we needed starting kind of deep. So it was good to have some kind of track position, be in the invert this week, which hurt us from our qualifying position, but just working our way and then keeping track position helped us a ton there.
Talk to me about working your way up in the field. We saw you start in the back half of the top 10 right there. And what we know about Sobo, it's really difficult to pass sometimes. So talk to me about moving through the field.
I mean, it's difficult. It's a really racy place. And it really just depends on how you have your car set. Like especially the first handful of laps on a run for at least me, the way that I had tweaked it. I couldn't run the top. There's a bump up there in 3 and knocked the cross member off of it going in, running the top the first handful of laps. So it was really, let's stay to the bottom, try and pick the bottom as much as we can, and just roll with what gets given to us. Make ground up when we can.
Yeah, once you got to that third place position, making that ground, what more did you need to be able to get past body and eventually grout?
Just laps. It was unfortunately not to the guys that run this place's fault. One of our more chaotic nights, I guess is the best way to say it. It's unfortunate the amount of cautions that we had, and once we got 15 laps into a run, I've always been kind of a rhythm driver, so once we got 10-15 laps into a run, I was able to really get in a good rhythm and gain some ground. And I almost had Corey once or twice. I wasn't quite there, so I'm not going to say I would have had him. It all comes down to laps at the end of the day.
Definitely. And talking about laps, we look forward to next week at North Wilkesboro. First of all, hope you'll be back running with us. And if you are, what do you look for at North Wilkesboro to be able to try to get the win there?
It's just letting the race play out. Wilkesboro is one of those places where track position is helpful, but I wouldn't say it's key like it is here. Here, you really have to start at the top half of the field, but you go to a place like Wilkesboro and you can work through the field. It's a little more difficult and you might burn up your tires in the process, but with Wilkesboro, it's hitting your marks, getting to the bottom when you need to get to the bottom. Just be smart, be patient. With the longer format races like we have here, it's take what comes to you. Don't push an issue that you don't need to push.
There we go. Some smart strategy there from Cody Dempster. Cody, before I let you go, anyone you'd like to thank tonight?
Y'all for broadcasting. Y'all do a great job. All the MRL guys for putting this on and putting it on week in and week out, even though nights like tonight might not make it as fun. Ryan Kuhn for building us a bad fast hot rod from the get-go to where all I had to do was make a couple clicks to fit me a little better, and we were all ripping. So that's what I got to thank, and there's a long list of other people, but that's all I'm sure y'all got time for.
Well, congratulations on the third place finish tonight, Cody. We'll see you next week.
Thank you. Y'all have a good night.
Well, that was third place Cody Dempster. That rounds out your top 3 of the night, and we talked about it. Next week, we're at North Wilkesboro. If you were able to watch the Rudolph 250 a couple weeks ago, you've seen these late models take on the short track here in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina, and man, it is a classic, and it provides some excellent racing, Sky.
Yeah, the Rudolph 250 was a ton of fun. One of the best races I've had the pleasure to cast for the Misfit Racing League. I think it's going to be a lot of fun next week. Rolling off same time as every week, Saturday night, 8:25 Eastern, 7:25 Central. I think these drivers are going to put on a great show there.
Well, we saw a lot of laps there at the Rudolph. We'll have a lot less here in this Misfit Touring Series Season 2 race. What do you expect to see?
I think I expect to see a little bit of chaos like we saw in that race that we held over Christmas. It's going to be one that I think might lend itself to a little more contact, maybe more similar to tonight where you get a couple cautions early on. But I think it'll also lend itself to some really good racing like we saw tonight as well.
I wholeheartedly agree. Let's swing it back to tonight. It was a great race. Like Cody Dempster said, definitely a little more cautions that a lot of these drivers probably would have liked to have seen, but that's something that can happen. Give me your thoughts on tonight.
It was a great race. I mean, had that battle for the lead where Jake Rao was able to just keep getting away from those guys up front. A lot of action through the mid-pack especially. It was just a really good time and another great race in the Misfit Touring Series.
Well, Jake Grau gets it done, holds off Corey Body, but that's all for tonight. For Kyle Adams and Jake Sylvia at Misfit Productions and Bradley Cooper at V-Speed, for DJ Lyon at Production, and for my colleague in the booth, Sky Schreck, my name is Scott Scheib, and we'll see you next week at North Wilkesboro.